Hello people, so today we'll be solving LeetCode DailyQuestion 200, that is number of islands, and in this we'll be going to M into N 2D binary grid which represents a map of ones are land and zeros are water, and we have to return the number of islands. And an island is surrounded by water and is formed by connecting edges and lands horizontally or vertically. You may assume all four edges of the grid are all surrounded by water. Okay, for example, like we'll be counting this whole connected component as like this is one island, just one, and one. So this is one island, but in this case we'll be having three islands. So this is connected to each other. This individual is an island, and these four are connected individuals, so they form an island together. Okay, so we need to return the total number of islands. Firstly, like we know that like an island is connected by horizontally or vertically. So let's have the directions array. In directions, that will be put a new int, that is 0 comma 1 and 1 comma 0, and then 0 comma minus 1 and minus 1 comma 0. Okay, so these my direction, and also have n and m variables, which will be the number of rows and the number of columns. Okay, so first initialize the n, that is will be equal to grid dot length, and m will be equal to grid 0 dot length. Okay, now let's just update the global variables to this dot n equal to m, this dot m equal to m. Okay, now we'll also be having a boolean visited array, so as we don't like stuck in a loop while we are traversing in the directions. So that will be of a new boolean of size n cross m. You can also skip that using this boolean array, and I would like that you should find a way yourself of how we can do this. Okay, so then let's have the number of islands variable, that will be initially 0. And okay, now let's start reversing in the array, and the condition will be like, okay, let's int I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, and then for int j equal to 0, j less than m, j plus plus. And the condition will be that if it's basically whenever we'll be visiting an island, we'll be marking it as visited, else we'll be just else if the area is not visited and the grid is 1, that means we haven't visited an island, and it's also will be adding to the increase in the number of islands. Okay, if I'll be saying that grid ij is equal to 1 and my ij not visited ij. Okay, so in this case I'll be increasing the count of the islands, that is islands plus equal to 1, and I'll be calling the dfs function with the grid, the I, the j, and the visited array. Okay, now and at the end I'll just directly return the number of islands. Okay, now let's quickly write this function, that is private dfs void dfs, sorry, void dfs, and this will be having the uh, char grid int row, int column, and the visited array, boolean visited. Okay, firstly what we'll be doing is we'll be setting visited row column, that will be equal to a true, and now we'll be traversing the direction, that for n direction in directions, what I'll be doing is I'll be calculating the x, that will be the new coordinate where I can go in the DFS, so that will be equal to row current row plus direction 0, and then int y will be equal to current column plus dir 1. Okay, and now let's check the base condition to call the DFS, that will be if my x is greater than equal to 0, and my x should be less than n, and my y is greater than or equal to 0, and my y should be less than m, and my grid of new xy should also be equal to 1, grid xy should be equal to 1, and also the condition is it should not be visited and not visited xy. In this case what I'll be doing, I'll be calling the DFS with the grid, again the current row, the current column, and the visited array. Okay, and that's just it for the code. Now let's run it quickly. Okay, so it says island is not found, it's islands. Okay, now let's run it. Stack Overflow error. Okay, so column plus dir 1 I greater than is equal to 0, x greater than x less than n, y greater than n, grid x y is equal to 1, not visited x. Oh, sorry, not the row column, x and y. Oh, yeah. Yeah, now it gets accepted. Now let's submit it. And it works perfectly fine. Okay, so this was it for today. Thank you for watching.